Sidney Powell, one of the top lawyers that was working for Donald Trump after the 2020 election. She is pleading guilty in the election subversion case.
Well, how about that? Sidney Powell, one of Donald Trump's top lawyers during his 2020 election claims that the election was stolen from him, has now pleaded guilty. So in this video, I'm going to break this down. I'm going to show you what this may mean for Trump. And I'm also going to go down memory lane with a clip from Sidney Powell when she was first putting out her crap. And just, it was always clear that she was completely full of trash. She even admitted this herself 2 years ago. So we'll get to that as well. But let me first get to what this is all about. So the charges Powell pleaded guilty to on Thursday stem from her effort to access voting machines in Coffee County, Georgia, after the 2020 election. Powell and others involved in that effort claimed they were investigating allegations of voter fraud. Powell's plea came as a surprise because she and her defense attorney had vigorously insisted in recent days that she had done nothing wrong and that she had explicit permission from local officials to access the machines. And then, with the trial set to start on Monday, she had a change of heart. So Powell's guilty plea, which she entered in a court hearing in Atlanta, makes her the first member of Trump's close advisors to admit to crimes related to the 2020 election. She had been slated to go on trial Monday in Fulton County on charges that she joined Trump in the alleged racketeering conspiracy and helped engineer the breach of election equipment in a Georgia county. This is a very important domino. I will say, even if nobody flipped on Trump, I think there's enough there to, I hope at some point, maybe if we're lucky, put him behind bars. But having people like Powell flip, especially someone like Powell flip, someone who is a prominent member of this, is a very important piece to just add to the already overwhelming evidence against Donald Trump. So let me get to the important piece of that here from CNN.
She also is agreeing, as part of this deal, to testify at future trials. So Sidney Powell is lined up, essentially, to go to trial at the end of this week alongside one other defendant in that case, another lawyer, Ken Chesbro. She's not going to be going to trial now, so she's taking this plea deal. She will not have that trial. She will also be in a situation where prosecutors will be recommending her to avoid jail time as part of this deal. But it's significant that not only is she avoiding the trial, not only is she putting in this guilty plea, that she is very likely to become a witness against Donald Trump and the others as they go to trial in Georgia. And there's a lot here at stake, not only in Georgia, but also in the federal court in D.C., where another criminal case against the former president exists and where Sidney Powell has been identified as a top co-conspirator there. And so what this means for Donald Trump going forward is it's not good.
Not good. Believe me, not good.
Not good. That's a wonderful place to end that clip. So here you have the, what's it called? The chickens coming home to roost? Or is it the hens? Somebody's roosting something. So you have here Sidney Powell being served up on a plate for this entire case in their bid to do everything possible to get Trump, even though they clearly have enough already. But why not add, another rooster or chicken or something on the pile? So I'm just in a good mood because of this story alone. If I ignore everything else going on in the world, everything's fine. But here we have, this is Sidney Powell on November 15th, 2020. So this is shortly after, of course, the election. Here she is on Fox News at the time. Fox News, their Sunday show. So this is like one of their flagship important Sunday, or the Sunday morning show. And check out what she was saying at the time.
Because we're fixing to overturn the results of the election in multiple states. And President Trump won by not just hundreds of thousands of votes, but by millions of votes that were shifted by this software that was designed expressly for that purpose.
President Trump, he definitely won the election by millions of votes. This is where she was blaming the Dominion voting systems, which at the time, this is back in December 2020. They were demanding Sidney Powell retract the baseless election claims, which, in case you forget how amazing these were, this is these are incredible. Made several public appearances claiming without evidence that Dominion's machines were involved in an international communist conspiracy to commit voter fraud and rig the election against President Trump. Specifically, Powell claimed that the company worked with Hugo Chavez, the late Venezuelan dictator. Yes, the man not alive, and employed machines with a vote-flipping algorithm. God. So she was then sued. I was forgetting the word for a second. I'm like, facing a lawsuit? No, she was then sued by Dominion for defamation. And facing defamation, Sidney Powell's defense of this says no reasonable person thought her election fraud claims were fact. This is the exact same argument that Tucker Carlson used in court when he was faced with a lawsuit, and for him it worked. So, I don't know. It's an amazing defense because you could at this point, you're saying you can say anything, say whatever the hell you want. And as long as you can defend yourself by saying, well, sure, I said this crazy thing that clearly isn't true, but no person would believe me, which would essentially render defamation completely useless. If you could just use that as the defense, like forever, in any case, then why would there ever be any successful defamation suit? But let me play for you, since it's worth watching. Just, this happened in real time. Here is Sidney Powell in court while she is pleading guilty.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Powell, I've been handed a document that's titled Plea of Guilty Form. Is this your signature as well on the second page?
Yes, sir.
Right, thank you, ma'am.
And ma'am, do you understand that this is a negotiated plea, which means that your attorney and I have reached an agreement, or the state has reached an agreement as to the proposed sentence that will be made to the court?
I do.
Do you understand that the recommendation being made to the court as to this accusation on counts 1 through 6 that should be sentenced to 12 months of probation to run consecutive with one another?
I do.
Do you understand that the state is asking that a $6,000 fine be imposed, a restitution of $2,700 be paid to the state of Georgia, an apology letter be written to the citizens of the state of Georgia, that you truthfully testify at all hearings and proceedings and trials involving the co-defendants in this matter, and that you have no communication with co-defendants, media, or witnesses until this case has been completely closed against all defendants?
I do.
It's wonderful. Wonderful to watch that happen. And you still have to think that the people that support Trump don't care. I don't think this will impact. If you are still on the MAGA train, this plea by Sidney Powell is not going to do anything for you. You're not going to care because you've gone this far. Why would you stop now? But this has so the result of this is in addition to serving probation and writing the apology letter, Powell agreed to pay a $6,000 fine and restitution of $2,700, which is. This is a minor slap on the wrist. I mean, considering what she's been facing, the lies she told, the impact that Sidney Powell has had on the brains of millions of Americans, for this to be the result of that, you know what? I would reject. Forget it. We have enough on Trump. Forget your guilty plea. No, you're going to go down with him because you were integral into this entire BS. But I guess they figure it helps their case against Trump. If it does, then sure. Okay, we'll see. But yeah, we'll see. Who knows? I'm glad she's admitted guilt, I guess. I guess that's a good thing. But as long as it does something to Trump, because if it doesn't, then you might as well have brought her down with him.